Well, today's video I'm going to be doing collectible coins you can find in pocket change. All these coins, with the exception of one, I'd actually got out of pocket change. Let's see, there's one over here. I think I actually didn't get. I don't know why. Let me see. Oh. Okay. Alright, I got it. Okay, this is coins you can find in pocket change. I got all these with the exception of one. It was handed down, and my grandmother had this one here. Of course, it's a do this the best way I can here so you can see it. This coin is a clip planchet, but it's really wore smooth. So as to value, I don't know, it really is hard to say, but there's probably people out there that would collect that. It's in there. Whenever they were making the planchets, this one was at the end, so whenever the punch came down, this would be the end right here. So the punch came down, there wasn't anything there, so that leaves a straight edge clip. All the other ones I actually got out of change. It's a 98. It wasn't aligned right in the press, so you can see it was off. So there's actually blank metal on this one. Now the mints, when the mints would get their dies, all the dies were made in Philadelphia. When they would get their dies, they wouldn't have the mint mark on them. So, you know, such as San Francisco and Denver. This is a Denver, but we have a blob of a D there. They would punch in their own mint mark. You know, Denver, they punch in, you know, they take a D and punch it in there, and in the die, and then, you know, sometimes if they didn't think they had it right, they would hit it a second time, and it wouldn't be in the exact same spot. So you'd end up having two D's, like on this 60. D, you have two D's. You get the focus there. Now I'm hoping that this works out and that people will be able to see, you know, the two D's there on the mint mark. Trying to get in there. There we go. I think on a bigger screen you'll be able to see that, or it's a perfect parallel. And all these coins, you get them right out of pocket change. This one is a double die, where they would do in the hubbing process. They would press into the material, the metal, that's going to actually be the die, and it would take several presses. Well, if they didn't get the hub back in there right in the same spot, whenever they hubbed it the second time, you would get it everything twice. It's called a double die. This one isn't that dramatic. It's actually, you know, on film here, it seems to be a bit hard to see. Oh yeah, that fuzzed right out. Try to get that there. It's in the motto, and in the word liberty, and the date. This is difficult to do. Maybe on a bigger screen you'll be able to see it. Now this next one is an interesting coin, because it's Canadian, but I actually got this one, well, at the laundromat, so it didn't come out of pocket change. Almost like pocket change though, but not quite. Let you look at it here. The people that are into coins will probably already see what's going on here, but I'll show it to you a little bit here, and then I'll tell you what's going on with it. What this is, as you'll see if you can see it going around here, it shows up right here. You see you have two different lines. You have the edge line, and you see the other line. It's like a railroad tracks going in here. Right in here. What happened was, whenever they were striking this coin in 1980, something happened in the press. You have your obverse die and your reverse die. They're placed in the press, and then in between those you have a collar that'll hold the planchet in place. If the collar breaks, then the coin, when it gets in there and it's struck, it'll escape. And it's known as, this coin is struck partially out of the collar, so you get this marking here. Now along the edge, this isn't a holder, but along the edge, that area, you see that it squeezes, and so you'll have a reeded edge about halfway across, and then you'll have no reeded edge where it's squeezed out. This was in the laundromat, laying on top of one of the machines, probably someone, whenever they were doing their clothes, they had a Canadian quarter, and that won't work in the machine, so they were probably frustrated by that, and they threw it on top of the machine. Now these coins, you can find coins you know, errors and varieties in pocket change. You know, most of this stuff here isn't, you know, errors. But, you know, there's some foreign stuff in there. You know, other error types that are like, you know, they weren't properly centered in. Yeah, so you only get like it struck on part of the planchet. This last one though, I found it in pocket change. Oh, I don't know, probably 5-6 years ago. You get it down in there. Right under the date. You'll see the mark. Yeah, there we go. It's a hardness test. In a hardness test, if they make changes to the coin, like in the design, any changes at all, say like on like the reverse, it can have an effect on the rest of the, you know, on the rest of the coin, like say the design on the obverse, you know, and how it strikes up. You know, it could actually, you know, in some cases maybe even, you know, break the dies, or maybe it won't fill in right whenever they're striking because of a simple design change. So when they do that, like in this case in '92, they changed in America, they moved the letters, you know, back together. You know, before there was a space in between America on the back, A and M, and then they would later move them together. And so, you know, I'm thinking that you do a hardness test. When you do a hardness test, it's like say on a die, like the change is going to be on the reverse of this coin. So you do a hardness test on the obverse die in the area, like America is like on the reverse of this coin is right in that area underneath about where the D is. You do a hardness, see how hard the metal is. There's a lot of controversy, like some of the people thinking that, you know, they don't really do that anymore. But, you know, it's not really, it's just, you know, work they do. It's not really recorded. They say like, well, we did a hardness test today, and we ran like 200 or maybe 300 pieces, and you know, we did tests and then we discarded them. That's just the work they do. They don't, you know, it may be recorded that yeah, hardness test was done today, and nothing else said about it. But when you do a test, you use a probe, and it you punch that into the die, and it'll, you know, for you figure, you know, a certain depth, you know, how much weight, you know, for a given length of time. And then after you do that, and then you run the dies. Now it's when that happens, you get a raised mark on the die where you did that. And I sent this coin out, you know, to a major grading service. It grades AU 55 out of 70, and as you know, as strict of standards as, you know, the top two-tier major grading services, PCGS and NGC. You know, if there's anything at all wrong with coin you send, and if they're filled with claims, if it has rim dings, if there's anything at all, you know, wrong with it, if it's a flawed planchet, like, see, this is a zinc planchet coated with copper. So flaws, you can get flaws. Yeah, so there's no real flaws. So to get it graded, at the time I sent this coin in, I didn't really know what. I thought maybe it was like some kind of error. But it's actually a variety. You know, the hardness test mark, you got a dot right there below the first 9. There's actually another one in the field above the 9, but it's difficult to get that to come in. Yeah, but just, you know, to get it, you know, certified with a standalone grade, you know, at the time I sent this in, it is either you'd get, you know, a certified standalone grade, but they wouldn't, you know, they would, you know, encapsulate it, but it's you know, it didn't have the attribution on the label. I didn't know, you know, what to attribute it as, other than I figured an error, and I figured they would tell me, but they don't. So it's an interesting find. You know, it is perfectly round dot. You know, about the size and the depth that you'd have a test probe. That the test probe would be, but right there, we flip that over, keep a hold of it, and there's America. See, it's wide there, and then 93, they'll butt them back together. I'll let it fuzz out. Yeah, right there above the 9, you can see that it's harder to see there. But below the 9 is the best one. Yeah, you can find this stuff in pocket chains. I found, you know, a bunch. You know, these, you know, you don't find a whole lot. I guess if you look through coin rolls from the bank constantly, you know, you'd probably find more, but, you know, I don't. You know, I don't do that. You know, not all that much anyway. It's, years back I found these. This is the one presentation I thought I would do on these. You know, that either, you know, there is interesting things to be found in change. Yeah, if you want to do that. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. If you're a person with you know, a lot of time on your hands, and you want to mess with coins, mess around and see what you can find. You know, there's still stuff out there. Now, as you know, as to the value of, you know, coins, you know, such as these, it really all depends. It really is what anybody wants to pay. You know, you'll have collectors, if they really want something, you know, it's hard to get, or some it's hard to find, and you know, and they have a chance, you know, they'll pay more. But if generally if they're, you know, just looking for stock, you know, they don't, or you know, if they're a dealer looking for stock, you know, they don't pay a whole lot. For a collector, you know, they don't usually, you know, pay more towards the bottom line, or maybe the middle, maybe towards the, you know, middle of the road or whatever. You know, it all depends. You know, those are the ones I have, and yeah, there's some interesting finds. But you know, it's a shorter presentation because I don't have really that many coins, just these few. So I thought I'd let you see, you know, interesting things and potentially valuable things out there in pocket change. You know, hope you enjoy it. Thanks for taking a look. You know, I have other videos on other topics, you know, out there for you to check out. Hope you enjoyed this one. So I'm going to cut this off here, and I'll go see if I make another video. Thanks for watching.